During the September review of the STI Index, ComfortDelgro is being kicked out and being replaced by a secondary listing called Emperador. So it is a liquor giant based in the Philippines, and investors probably want to know what does this stock do and should you be concerned about this stock joining the STI Index. We're going to find out more of this in this stock analysis video. Okay, so Emperador has been confirmed to join STI Index on 19 September 2022. Alright, so let's dive in and check out why this stock is being added into the STI Index. Okay, but first a disclaimer, alright, this is for information purposes only and does not constitute to any financial advice. Okay, please do your own independent evaluation of the investment objectives and things like that. Okay. So on 19 September 2022, okay, ComfortDelgro will be kicked out and replaced by Emperador. It will join the STI Index with an indicative weight of 0.4%. Alright. And many investors that I see online, right, they'll be like, hey, why rope in this unknown stock into the STI? Somehow it has only been 2 months since it did the secondary listing on July itself. So after thinking for a while, right, I'm doing some research, I found two main reasons why Emperador is actually being lured into the STI Index. The first reason is that it probably has a bigger market cap. Alright, when you compare to the 5 stocks of the STI reserve list, which comprise of Olam Group, Suntec REIT, Keppel REIT, Fraser Centrepoint Trust, and Escort Trust. Okay, 4 of them are like REITs or trusts, and Olam Group is also a commodities player, which Wilma is already inside. So the STI Index review probably wanted a more kind of a diversification, and Emperador itself has an estimated market cap of 7.3 billion. Alright, the second main reason is that SGX, if you look at their plans, they are going international. Alright, the first one that's very obvious is NEO, whereby they welcome the listing of NEO on 20th May. Alright, so NEO has already been listed in the US, in the Hong Kong, but they did a third one in Singapore itself. Okay, and on top of that, if you look at the Bloomberg article, Singapore is going to see more US listed Chinese firms coming to our shores, and the listings will probably come in future. Alright, so this sort of like tells us that SGX doesn't just want to focus on local companies. They want to go international and bring in all the kind of very big international firms. And these are the two main reasons why Emperador has a foothold in STI Index itself. Okay, now let's dive into what is Emperador all about. Okay, what do they do? The bull thesis, the bear thesis, and all that. Okay, so first of all, let's check out what they do. Okay, for those who don't know what this stock is all about, Emperador is actually a leading liquor company, okay, with various whiskey and brandy brands, okay, distributed in over 100 plus countries. It is primarily listed on the Philippines Stock Exchange and secondary listed on SGX itself on July 2022. Okay, and just not to be confused, right, there are a lot of different kinds of liquor. So one of it is like wine, the soft liquor, and generally has lower alcohol content, which is like 9 to 12% alcohol by volume. Alright, and on the other hand, we have brandy. Brandy is the one that Emperador is focused on. It is called a hard liquor, okay, distilled and has very high alcohol content, 35% to 60%. So this kind of the kind whereby you drink 2 shots, you will be tipsy already. Okay, and to understand it better, right, based on the SGX introductory report, okay, the spirits industry is being split into two. Okay, mainly two lah. So the first one is the white spirit, where it consists of the Chinese baijiu, the Japanese soju, the Angmo vodka, and all that. Alright, these are the white spirits. On the other hand, you have the brown spirits, which is the whiskey and the brandies, where Emperador is the leading player in this segment itself. Okay, and taken from its corporate presentation, Emperador is actually the #1 brandy player in the world. So this is by the sales volume itself. So the number of cases or the volume that they sold. Alright, so they are the #1 brandy player and is one of the largest spirits players in the Philippines. Okay, and if you were to look at all their brands over here, they go from the mainstream all the way to the luxury brands. So they have acquired many different brands to reach out to all these different kinds of tiers. But if you were to look at the Emperador brand itself, it is located as more of the accessible. That means the not so expensive types, right at the bottom, right? Okay, and now let's talk about Emperador's history to understand more about the company. Okay, there's a humble beginning. Alright, their humble beginning is founded by Dr. Andrew L. Tan in 1979. Alright, so they introduced the Emperador brand to the market, and then they got listed on the Philippine Stock Exchange. Alright, in 2013. Okay, so back then they are just very focused on one brand, right, and they got listed there. And then afterwards, okay, this is what they call their transformative acquisitions from 2014 to 2017, whereby they acquired many different brands to move up the value chain. Okay, and next from 2014 to 2020, so concurrently it is expanding overseas, okay, into China, into many Europe or US regions, and they also moving upscale, going via the premiumization route. And then their plans of 2025 and beyond is to be a global leader in the spirits industry with over 50% revenue and profit from outside Philippines. Okay, and they're gonna aspire to become a major player in China and other high growth markets. This we will talk more about during the bull case. Alright, so let's talk about the bull case here. Right, we can see from the chart taken from marketscreener.com, okay, their sales and net income. Sales is the black color bar, alright, and the net income is the green color bar. They are on a uptrend, okay, although it's kind of a slow, but it's still on an uptrend. Net margins went down to 13%, alright, but rebounded to 17.8% in FY 2021. But more importantly, okay, analysts expect that the growth will continue for the next few years into 2024. And let's look at their balance sheet. Okay, the balance sheet, the leverage ratio, or so-called debt divided by EBITDA, okay, is still manageable at 1.09 times in FY 2021. Okay, but it has been coming down since 2017, and analysts are predicting that it will become a net cash company by FY 2024 too. Next up, okay, we will look at their other metrics like the free cash flow, ROE, and capex. So based on the highlighted metrics, okay, you can see that they do generate a lot of free cash flow in their businesses. Okay, it's always free cash flow positive and growing. Okay, their ROE has also slightly improved from 10.6% in year 2019 to around 13% in 2022 estimated. And if you look at their capex, they don't really have a large capex because what they're selling is liquor, right? So is the production capex is pretty standard based on the sales volume itself. So you can see their capex to sales is around 2 to maybe 4%. So that's not quite high as compared to other companies, other types of companies out there. Okay, and the second bullish point about Emperador is their big addressable market. If you check out their introductory report again, okay, the global spirits market is expected to grow at a CAGR of 3.4% between FY 2022, okay, to 2026 to reach 538 billion, okay, by 2026. And if we were to zoom in down further to the whiskey and brandy segments, right, which Emperador is focused on, it is around 46% of the global spirits industry sales. And Emperador's addressable market, okay, this is by the report, IMR report. They say that Emperador's addressable market represents a sizable share of this global spirits industry with sustainable growth. Okay, and if I were to pluck out, right, okay, this 46% out of the entire spirits industry of 538 billion, that will be equivalent to around 240 billion of market size. So if we were to take the estimated sales by 2026, it will be around 1.09 billion US dollars. So that is only 0.4%. So merely 0.4% of the entire addressable market. So that shows that there's a lot of room for growth for the company itself. Okay, then moving on, the company is also targeting these two routes. Okay, they're gonna go for more premiumization of their portfolio, their brands, and the other one is to go internationalization. So that means they're gonna expand globally into all the different markets. So if they were to be successful in these two approaches, they are likely they will be able to grow their sales going forward. And the last point is that they are tightly controlled by the family. Okay, Emperador's largest and controlling shareholder is Alliance Global. Okay, and this holds a direct interest of 84.5% stake in Emperador as of 31st March. So they are effectively controlled by the Tan family, who also owns Alliance Global Group lah. Okay, and the founder, okay, Dr. Andrew Tan and his spouse, okay, both serve as the chairman and treasury as of the June 2022. Okay, and if you were to look at this, Andrew Tan is also a chairman of the Mega World Corporation. So this is somewhat like the capital land of Philippines because it is also listed in the Philippines itself, and they have a lot of different properties out there being developed by this Mega Corporation. So if you were to go and check out the company, you can go and take a look. It is also a very big company in the Philippines itself. Okay. Now let's talk about the flip side, which is the bear case of Emperador. The first point that I want to make is that it is seemingly having a slow growth, maybe in FY 2022 itself. For their first half, okay, gross profit actually came down on a year-to-year basis. This is due to the inflationary pressures, logistic issues, higher input costs due to the stronger US dollar. And as a result, net profit only grew by 5% year on year, even though revenue sales, right, grew by 19%. Okay, The other point to note is the decreasing profit margins. Okay, this is also by their, the corporate presentation. If we were to look at the gross profit itself, they went from around 43% to 31%, okay, on a year-to-year basis. So that is a very sharp drop based on the other factors, based on the cost, the logistic issues and things like that. So investors may want to see whether this will be dragged out, okay, in the next few years onwards. Okay, so this also represents that they have increased sales, but at a increased volume at a much lower selling prices. So you need to take note whether these lower selling prices can be reversed going forward. Okay, next up is the stiff competition. All right. So this is taken from the introductory report as well. Based on the risk factors inside the report, they say that they're gonna face significant domestic and foreign competition. Okay, main competitors in the Philippine brandy market include Primera Brandy and Alfonso Brandy. Okay, on the other hand, international markets, they're gonna face competition from brand owners like Diageo, okay, Pernod Ricard, William Grant, and all that. Okay, so this itself tells us that there are a lot of competition going on, be it different tiers, be it the accessible or the luxury or the premium in between. There are a lot of liquor companies out there that will, engage in the price war with Emperador itself. Okay, and for liquor consumption, right, is highly dependent on the discretionary spending. Okay, and based on the highlighted words itself, is subject to changes in the global economic conditions. So a slowdown in the economic growth worldwide will likely cut back on discretionary spending, which will lead to lower alcohol consumption and lesser social gatherings. So this will have an adverse impact on Emperador's financials itself. So if you are bearish on the global economy, like you see the China housing debt bubble, or the, like, let's say US inflation, Europe facing oil crisis and all that, and you are thinking that, oh, there may be a recession going forward, you may want to take extra caution of this, because it will affect the levels of alcohol consumption. All right. And another point is the higher cost of raw materials. So we can see that despite the increase in revenue, the gross profit actually went down. A large part of this, okay, may be due to the increased cost of their raw materials. So their beverage products are raw materials, right, are largely commodities, and they are subject to price volatility due to weather conditions, agriculture uncertainty, governmental controls, and all that. So the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict may also pose another added risk on top of that. So now let's move on to the peers and valuation. Okay, in selecting the companies, right, there aren't many liquor players in Singapore, so we check out some of the US listed companies. So first on the list would be Diageo. Alright, Diageo is the world's largest liquor distributor and second largest distiller. Okay, some notable brands include like Johnnie Walker, Crown Royal, Black Label, and all that. Okay, the next one is Constellation Brands. Okay, another US listed beer, wine, and spirits producer. So some of the brands include like Robert, Mondavi, Modelo, E-Special, and more. The third one is this Anheuser-Busch, alright, a beer and soft drink firm with over 400 beer brands, including Budweiser, Corona, Hoey Garden, and all that. And last but not least, we also cannot forget our other beverage company in the STI Index, right? Thai Beverage. So Thai Beverage is famous for its Chang beer, but it's also moving into the white and brown spirits segment. Okay, so let's do a quick growth comparison. Okay, Emperador sales and net income 3-year CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, is 5.9% and 14.4% respectively. So if you compare to the other 4 competitors that I mentioned just now, Diageo has a 3-year revenue CAGR of 6.3%. Okay, seemingly the highest out of the 4. Okay, it is just slightly higher than Emperador. But if you were to look at the net income, okay, 3-year CAGR, Emperador actually outshone the rest with a 14.4% 3-year CAGR. Diageo, on the other hand, only managed a 0.9% net income growth. So in this aspect, right, Emperador is actually growing much faster than the other 4 companies. Next up, let's look at the profitability matrix. Okay, Emperador's net margin and ROE is 17.6% and 13.8% respectively. Okay, so if we were to look at the net income margin, so Diageo has a very high net income margin of 21%, so more than Emperador's itself. Thai Beverage, on the other hand, 10.5%, quite low compared to Emperador. Return on equity, ROE, okay, Diageo has 37.2%, very high, maybe because they are the world's largest liquor company, okay, whereas the others all lose out to Emperador's 13.8% ROE. Okay, then now let's talk about valuation. Okay, so I've put all these P/E ratio and dividend yield numbers into an Excel sheet itself. Okay, so this is the screenshot. Emperador itself is trading at around 32 times price to earnings. Okay, P/E ratio, sorry, and 1.1% dividend yield. So it is quite high compared to the other 4, only lower than Constellation Brands of around 40 times P/E ratio. And their dividend yield of 1.1% is also the lowest as compared to the other 4. Okay, if we were to look at Diageo itself, okay, their P/E ratio is 27 times with a 2% dividend yield. Thai Beverage, on the other hand, P/E ratio is around half, okay, more than half of Emperador at only 15.6 times, and their dividend yield is inching closer to 3%, okay, of dividend yield. That's around 3 times that of Emperador. And all these figures are as of 7 September, okay, sourced from SGX and Google Finance. And in the conclusion, okay, all in all, right, we like how the management has come up with a clear goal, taken an extract from the corporate presentation itself. Their vision for 2025 and beyond is to generate more than 50% of revenue and profits internationally, okay, outside the Philippines. So focusing on their whiskey and brandy segments. However, okay, there are several things that investors also need to take note of. Okay, firstly is the high valuation of 32 times PE. Alright, like what we mentioned, 32 times PE versus Thai Beverage of maybe around 15 times PE. And their revenue growth also seems to be slowing down a bit. And you can see from this chart itself, 2016 to 2021 CAGR is only 5.9% of revenue growth. Okay, and as mentioned, right, in addition, based on the risks involved that we see, liquor consumption is directly tied to the economic conditions. So with recession looming, like the US inflation, housing bubble of the China itself, this may actually pose a direct threat to Emperador's ambitious plans going forward. Okay, so with that, we have come to the end of this video. Okay, thank you for watching, and if you want more stock analysis, please do help me to like and subscribe to my channel, okay, for more stock analysis videos in future. Okay, if you want to have any stocks that you want me to go through, you can also comment below this video itself, and I will try my best to do the research and come up with the video. In addition, okay, lastly, I will also leave all the research material links of Emperador in this video description. Okay, so see you in the next video. Thank you.